Hello everybody, I'm Simon Taurines, PhD student at UCAD Polytechnic Research Institute of Mines and Environment. I will present a part of my research work I've done until now. The object of the presentation is on the use of raméal chipwood to facilitate plant spontaneous colonization on mine waste rocks in a boreal forest context. Co-authors of the presentation are Marie Guittonny, professor at UCAD, and Armand Séguin, Federal Scientific Researcher for Natural Resources Canada. First, I'd like to introduce you the plan of my presentation. Classic plan with an introduction, the presentation of the study area, then the materials and methods of this experiment, a few preliminary results, and a short conclusion. Mining in Canada often needs to remove the forest ecosystem, then to remove the topsoil and the overburden to access to the bedrock and therefore to the underground resources. There is three major types of waste: overburden and topsoil, tailings, which are the wastes coming from the concentration plant, and waste rocks, which are the non-economic bedrock parts and are stored in waste rock stockpiles. And this last one are the object of this presentation. You can see here how they are stored on the mine site where the study area of the project is installed. Few characteristics of waste rock on the study area. They are composed of 66% of gravel, 20% of sand, 13% of silt, and 1% of clay, which makes it a material with rather low water retention properties. In addition, this material constitutes an exclusively mineral substrate, without deposit of organic matter, without seed or bud bank, an almost non-existent pedofauna, no canopy cover, making it difficult to establish shade-tolerant species, and finally, a soil microbiota much less abundant than in the surrounding forest soils. Restoration by spontaneous succession can be a suitable practice in order to increase the natural value and the structural and function diversity of the site, in comparison with technical reclamation according to Prac and Hobbs in 2008. But it implies challenges for mine companies to meet social and legal expectations because of the length of time this approach of restoration takes. Waste rock indeed have no biological legacy, which means that the process of plant succession on them is a primary succession, and it can take decades, even sometimes centuries. And after mine closure, overburden or topsoil are not necessarily kept and available for restoration works. Raméal chipwood could be an interesting material to bring some organic matter to the mineral substratum. It is a low-cost recycled material from pruning or forestry sector. Some research has already shown that it could reduce water runoff after rainfall and can keep water just below the surface, which could allow plants to get water in a very draining material such as waste rocks. And also, some authors has found that it could increase the growth of seedling shoots on coal mine tailings. What drives this research project is little is known about driving factors of the early stages of primary succession, and there is a lack of knowledge concerning the use of mulches for ecological restoration of waste rocks. So, could a raméal chipwood mulch increase plant colonization on waste rocks? The experiment is set up on a gold mine site closed in 2018 in Abitibi-Témiscamingue in Quebec, in Canada. The study area is on a waste rock deposit which has been spread near to the closed mine site. The experiment started in 2017 and will finish this year in 2021. It is a randomized complete block design with 4 treatments, The first one is scarified waste rock spreads, which is the control. The next is 10 centimeter sand layer over waste rocks. Then there is another treatment which is 2 centimeter raméal chipwood mulch over waste rock, and finally 2 centimeter raméal chipwood mulch over sand. The raméal chipwood is from willow, and there is 16 experimental units called cells. In each of these cells, 9 plots of 1 square meter have been installed. In these 9 plots, 4 were randomly chosen and sown with 2 species: 500 seeds of Betula papyrifera, also known as paper birch, and 500 seeds of Pinus banksiana, also known as jack pine. Originally, we had to this experimental area 2 reference areas. The first one was a not disturbed area, which was the near forest ecosystem, and the other one was the disturbed area and was a clear-cutted forest ecosystem. Each reference area was composed of 10 plots of 1 square meter, but these 2 reference areas were destroyed by forestry machinery in 2018. In terms of materials and methods, we counted each year in July and October the number of tree seedlings in each plot of the study area. And in July 2019 and 2020, we used the point intercept method to get the weed species and weed total cover. And we also count the number of weed species we get by square meter. We monitored microclimatic properties as volumetric water content and temperature of the soil with some probes. The probes were installed in 5 cm below the surface of the mineral substrate, and the data loggers measured these 2 variables hourly. In 2018, we had a loss of data because of the destruction of our monitoring device by animals. Few preliminary results of the experiment. On the not sound plots, so the one left on spontaneous succession, we had these results to the right of the slide. You have here the naturally colonizing species, here the year. On the y-axis, it is the average number of individuals per square meter, and on the x-axis, it is the treatments. ABS, which is the fear, has reached the site in 2018, and the other species has been counted since 2019. In 2020, PCA, which is the spruce, had the greatest number of individuals per square meter on waste rock. Willow, here Salix, is until now the only species naturally colonizing the site with a significantly greater number of individuals per square meter on raméal chipwood mulch cells than on mineral substrate cells. About the sound plots, Pinus banksiana, so jack pine, have a decreasing population the 4th year after sowing. Raméal chipwood mulch no longer seems to have an effect on the population. Maybe the mulch helped for the germination of the seeds, but not for the survival of the seedlings. In 2018, the average germination success rate for this species on 500 seeds was 3.9%, which is quite low. Betula papyrifera, also known as paper birch, has on average less than 2 individuals per square meters in 2018, and in 2020 it was less than 1 individual per square meter. Here you have the weed responses in terms of average number of species per square meters and in terms of total weed cover. And as you can see for these 2 variables, only the sand treatment had significantly the lowest results in comparison of with the other treatments. You can see it here, 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 and here. And also, there was no weed alien species colonizing the study area. For the microclimate properties, we found that temperature was buffered on mulch treatment, here and here, with regard to the minimum daily temperature divided by the maximal daily temperature. And we also found that the volumetric water content was significantly greater on mulch treatment, you can see it here and here, than on only mineral substratum. And also, it was significantly greater on sand treatment than on waste rock treatment. In conclusion, natural colonization by trees occurred on waste rocks along 4 years. For now, the raméal chipwood mulch only improved the colonization by willow and also wheat in a longer term, and spruce and jack pine in a shorter term. In terms of number of individuals per square meters, the best naturally colonizing species is spruce directly on waste rocks. Raméal chipwood mulch seems to improve microclimatic conditions, increasing the volumetric water content on soil surface and buffering temperature of the soil during the day. Waste rocks and sand seems to have significantly different water retention properties. In terms of limitations of this study, we can say this is a short-term study, and it's hard to extrapolate the trajectory of the future ecosystem from the early stages. And the study area is near to the forest, which can increase the seed rain and facilitate the colonization of forest plants. I will left you here with these two pictures of the study area in 2017 and 2020. And I want to thank you very much for your attention.